morning. Good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Woo! And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. It is Friday.
I like Fridays.
Wow. That mic is really hot. Okay, so let me turn this down.
Okay, is
You're
that
a little
better?
close. Maybe back up from the mic a little bit because you're kind of on top of it.
I'm always close to the mic. I love the mic. The mic's my friend.
All right. Well, I adjusted it. You're good now.
Okay.
So it is Friday, fun day. So that means we have with us Adam Russell from Opus Bank and CSUSB's Jack Brown School of Business and Public Administration's Business Alliance. He joins us every couple of weeks to talk about all things Inland Empire economy, business, manufacturing, economy. Yeah, I'm full of adjectives today. Adam Russell, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's Friday, always looking forward to the weekend. I look forward to Thursday, actually, because Thursday's Friday Eve, and then Wednesday's hump day, and then it'll be Monday. But let's not talk about Monday. Let's talk about what's going on. It's good. I mean, you know what? Economy is just humming along. Had the jobs report come out this morning mere moments ago.
Oh, and how's it look?
And unemployment rate is now at 3.6% for the United States.
That's insane.
Yep.
I mean, it really is that if you don't have a job, it's because you don't want one.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's there was an announcement earlier this week. Panda Express is looking to fill 1,300 job openings.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
I mean, not planning for the summer. I'm sure part of it's planning for the summer, too. But they're looking for those now, and that's for Southern California.
Wow.
And by the way, if anyone's listening, our Tuesday are the interviews in Ontario.
But how much do they pay?
You know, that was a question that was asked. There wasn't any detail on there. They did come up with the fact that their folks in the restaurant make about $11.83 average hourly rate. They have openings though for assistant managers and managers that can make more. And anecdotally, I will tell you, when I was teaching, students, I asked the students what they did, and I work at McDonald's, they're kind of embarrassed about it, and I think we've had this conversation before, but there's a lot of folks, if you take seriously what you're doing, if you're working for McDonald's or a Burger King or any one of the national franchises or even a local franchise like Farmer Boys, you're getting a perfect look at what it takes to run a business, even if you're just flipping the burgers. Because you go into the restaurant, you have to adhere to various cleanliness standards, health standards, HR standards, because you have the little break room, however big that is, with the notices and posters. You get training. My wife and I went over last Friday, we were at a Del Taco. And over to the other side was a fella that was, looking at a computer, and I walked past him, and he's doing his training on that computer. And a lot of people will poo-poo all the compliance and everything else that you have to do. And yes, for the 10th time, when you do it, yes, you poo-poo it. Because I've been doing this business for 30 years, I'm doing nothing but compliance. We have probably 20 to 30 modules every year that we have to do on the banking side. But if you take that information, if you are a young person and you want to grow in your career or your business, you learn this stuff. And it builds a foundation for when you want to open your own place, your own restaurant, your own whatever it is.
You mean you get out of work what you put into it? That's crazy talk.
Oh, sorry. I started drinking earlier this morning.
It's interesting because, if you think about McDonald's is one of the largest companies on the planet. They've got McDonald's in almost every country. And yes, many of them are franchises, but, if you're looking for a career, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad place to start. My first job was at McDonald's, and lots of people, their first job was at McDonald's. And, I'm not complaining. I was grateful for that job.
Sure. So it really gives you a good foundation learning things, paying attention. It's customer service. My wife has always said, "Boy, if you want to learn customer service, be a waitress." And she was. And the problem, though, with being married to someone who was a waitress, every time you go into a restaurant, they'll tell you, "Oh, the service here. Oh, I cannot believe he did that. Oh, I cannot believe she did that. I would never have done that." It's that sort of thing. But it gives you, if you ever want patience, be a server, and that will do you well.
So, are you thinking that this trend is going to continue with the strong jobs and the strong economy?
It got us. We had a GDP of 3.2%. That came out, I think it was last Friday, and that's stronger than expected. That's inflated a bit because there was a lot of inventory purchases in the fourth quarter. And they were just kind of letting those because they were anticipating tariffs. And I know there was a lot of my prospects and my customers that made advanced purchases, spent a lot of money building up on their inventory and buying their raw materials before the tariffs kicked in. The tariffs never did kick in. I mean, there were some that came in, but not to the point where they thought they were going to. It looks like that's going to resolve. And so people are now going to burn through that inventory. So you'll see the GDP drop for the second quarter, I'm sure. But regardless, 3.2% is a strong number. It's not the 5 or 6 that we had in 2004, 2005, but it really was, kind of crazy numbers. And looking back, we see that now. There are also no interest rate increases planned by the Fed. Inflation is lower than expected. The other thing, too, that happened was the shutdown ended. There was a government shutdown for a while. And, we just kind of forgotten about that because that's kind of done. China's growth has come back up. It's in the 5% range. And it beat expectations in the first quarter. So I think for the second quarter, things will slow down. They still expect it to be fine. There's not, people are saying, well, it might slow down later this year, going into 2020. This is kind of the same speech we've been hearing since 2016. Later this year it's going to slow down, and really in 2017 it's going to really, kind of stop. And then the same thing for 17, 18, and then 18, 19, 19, 20. And now people are taking that out to 2021.
So is this a good time to start a business?
Oh, God, yeah. It absolutely is. Your problems are going to be finding employees. That's the main thing. It's just you're going to have to pay a little bit more, but the market calls for that, and that's where you have a lot of opponents to a higher minimum wage say the market will set the wage. We don't have to. If you set $15 minimum wages, well, then you're going to get a lot of jobs that get automated. In the fast food places where you had your first job, your first job is not going to exist.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. There'll be other jobs that come in, and how does a high school kid get experience? It's just tougher and tougher to do because if you're shelling out $15 an hour for an employee, you want to get a pretty darn good employee. But yeah, this trend I think will continue. The one everybody really uses for their measurement stick is the stock market, because that's where if you have money invested in a 401k or an IRA or anything like that, that's what you watch and that's what you know. You may not know GDP, you may not know unemployment, but you're going to take a look at, hey, how's my retirement plan doing this month or today or this week? And that's really going to be kind of your barometer. And as the market goes, then people's optimism also goes. And the market's doing fine. It's up. S&P is up 17% this year alone.
So let me ask you this, because if you, we're already in presidential election full swing, and excuse me, and you have one side of the aisle saying that, everything's gloom and doom, and the other side of the aisle saying, man, everything's great. And I know that perception of, that's consumer confidence really drives a lot. And so, do you think that this could be, do you think the people who are gloom and doom, the sky is falling, are going to impact, or do you think this economy is just strong enough to hold its own?
Well, yeah, I think then you're now getting into kind of a media discussion, and what the media is wants to, what agenda they want to put forward, and that becomes a slippery slope. So many people I know that have stopped looking at the news. They kind of hear what they hear talking to other people. It's just that's a tough call to say. I think as long as the economy does well. The Republicans, which are kind of they're in the power of the Senate and the executive branch, will they stay in power? I don't know. That's difficult to say. There's any other election, it'd be a done deal. We got a screaming economy, everyone's doing fine. There wouldn't be the issues, but because there is so much animosity between the two parties, it's almost a coin toss, I think. But it should be a slam dunk for Trump. And people I know don't want to hear that. There are a lot of Trump folks, people that just can't stand the fella. But for better or for worse, whether you want to say it's his doing or just by luck, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, whatever the case might be. But there's no doubt that the lowering of the tax rates has kicked things in. I have a problem with the rising deficit. Sooner or later, we got to pay the piper on that one. I'm not sure how it gets paid, but the debt is going to become overwhelming. We're lucky because rates have stayed low. I mean, you can still get a 30-year mortgage in the threes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm reminded of Bill Clinton when he was running against George H.W. Bush. His tagline was, "It's the economy, stupid." Mm-hmm. And that might be the tagline for this year. And because you could still get a mortgage for a low price, but it also means that somebody was suggesting to me that money invested, you should go out and get a money market or a CD, invest money right now. And I'm like, well, interest rates are so low. That's probably not a good idea. I mean, when we get back from the break, we can talk about that. I'm Aaron Brinker.
Very good. We will.
I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are talking with Adam Russell. He is from Opus Bank and the CSUSB's Jack Brown School of Business and Public Administration's Business Alliance. We will be right back.
From the Bureau of Economic Geology, this is Earth Date. You may remember that our magnetic field forms a protective bubble around the Earth called the magnetosphere. It keeps solar winds and cosmic rays from scouring away the atmosphere and protects spacecraft, satellites, astronauts, and air travelers. But where does the magnetic field come from? The inner core of the Earth is very, very hot, about 6,000 degrees centigrade, the same as the surface of the sun. At that temperature, you'd expect it to be a liquid or even a gas. But because the pressure at the core is so extraordinary, about 2 million times what's on the surface, the inner core stays solid. In fact, it's 85% solid iron. The outer core of the Earth is also mostly iron, but because the pressure is lower, it's liquid. As lighter elements at different temperatures gradually rise through the liquid iron, they cause convection currents to form, like cream swirling in your coffee. Meanwhile, the Earth's rotation causes spinning eddies to develop. This somewhat organized circulation of liquid metal creates electric currents, which charge the Earth's iron core, turning it into a giant electromagnet. The magnetic field in the core is thought to be more than 10 times stronger than on the surface, and strong enough to extend 400,000 miles into space, which is what allows it to protect us from the hazards of space. I'm Scott Tinker, and thanks for listening to Earth Date.
Earth Date is produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas at Austin. Earth Date is researched by Julie Hennings, written by Harry Lynch, and distributed by Mark Blunt and Casey Walker. For more stories, follow us on Facebook or visit earthdate.org.
Ontario Host Lions Club is hoping you'll come out to their 10th annual We Serve golf tournament. Check-in is 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th at Sierra Laverne Country Club. Ontario Lions supports 7 local charities and 8 area projects. Dean Munoz is the golf tournament chair. Give him a call at 909-481-1180. That's 909-481-1180. Come on out and golf at Sierra Laverne Country Club on June 20th to support the Ontario Host Lions. 909-481-1180.
Why are you listening to this radio station? Why? When you can host your own radio show. You're listening and you think you can do better? You have a message or a product you want everyone to know about. Host your own radio show. Team up with the area's best radio professionals and let them make you sound like you should be on NBC. KCAA NBC Radio, that is. KCAA produces more than 50 local programs each week on subjects ranging from business and sports to political talk, vegan diets, or even marijuana-related issues. We don't just broadcast on the radio, we broadcast to the world. Online, on TV, on social media, on Facebook. You'll be all over. Imagine what your friends will say. And KCAA reaches over 5 million people on 3 radio stations. Join the staff on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. NBC Radio. Jump on the KCAA Express. Call 909-793-1065. That's 909-793-1065 and get ready to transmit.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker. Try that again.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, the always professional On the Brink morning show on KCAA. It's Friday Fun Day. That means we're talking with Adam Russell from Opus Bank and CSUSB's Jack Brown School of Business and Public Administration. He joins us a couple of times a month to talk about business, economy, the Inland Empire, and all things money. So let's talk about investments because, you obviously want to see a return on investment, but you don't want to go into something that's crazy risky. So what do you do?
Well, what's interesting is your investments you do your investments based on your age. The younger you are, the riskier your investments should be because you have a lot longer window to make that money back. As I get older, as I have over the last 20, 30 years, because I've been in the market since, 88, 89. I had a 401k, my first job out of college with General Electric, and I had no idea what it was. All I knew money got set aside, and when I quit that job, I got a check that was my IRA distribution, and so I probably cashed it. And then I got a letter from the IRS 12 months later saying, by the way, you cashed your IRA distribution. And if that doesn't teach you investments and responsibility, I don't know what will. So since that point, I've been in the market, and as certainly maybe for a 1-year period as a professional, because I did have a Series 7 license for a little while. For the most part, as an amateur, and so I can't advise on stocks. I pick my own. December 24th was certainly the day to buy stocks. That's when it had just ground all the way down to the bottom. The sky was falling, everything was coming apart, the wheels were coming off the car, and everything was going to hell in a handbasket. Since then, since the beginning of the year, the S&P has been up 17%.
Wow.
The Dow has been up 14%. You mentioned about putting your money into money markets and CDs. Money market accounts, interestingly, are paying 2.1% for a personal money market account. And honestly, that's about 5 times as high as you've seen the previous 5 or 6 years. So the banks are looking to draw money in, and that's why they pay the rates, because they want money to come in. Because when money comes in, they can turn around and lend that money out. And so it kind of drives the economy. The margins might shrink a little bit for the banks, but that's how they get their deposits. And so for people, the savers that aren't in the market, that want to have a conservative approach and just, put the money in a savings account, you have to really watch where you're going on that because, we have a generic Bank of America savings account that pays 0.05. Why even bother?
Wow.
It's almost an insult. It really, really is. But that's the big banks, right? I'm not there. If they're going after deposits, they're going after the big municipalities and the bigger companies, that sort of thing. But it's free deposits for them. It really is because they turn around and lend it at 4 or 5%, and that's a huge margin. Opus and other smaller banks are paying. We pay 1.5% business money market.
Wow.
And businesses are stockpiling cash because business owners, if you were around 10 years ago, in the back of your mind, you've got, okay, what if Armageddon happens again? What do I do differently? That's where people say, oh, what should I do? I just don't know what to do for the next recession. Oh, just look back at what 10 years ago and what you wish you'd have done. And then plan it that way. And that way there's no fear because you've got a plan in place. And as long as you've got a plan in place, it should work. It should certainly work better than having no plan in place at all.
So let's talk about the Business Alliance.
Sure.
Now, I know that the school year is winding down. I think there's about a month left.
It is.
But for next fall, you kind of teased it before, things that are happening. There's some changes.
Teased it. It's a big tease. We have a meeting coming up in the first week of June for the folks that are leading it. It's myself, a fellow by the name of Thomas Galindo. Thomas is one of the market presidents for Pacific Premier Bank out in Riverside. And then there's another fellow, Ken Coda, Ken, and Matt Wilson of Wilson Ivanova. The four of us kind of are the executive committee, for lack of a better word, on the Business Alliance, and we're meeting with Dean. The school has hired a part-time student working a couple of days a week. They have a full-time development person that's helping us out on that. So we're starting to get some momentum on the support side from the college. So I expect good things for the fall. It seems like a long way away, but I will tell you, it will be here before you know it.
Yeah, it's time flies.
It does.
And good things are happening at Cal State San Bernardino, and the accreditation for the business college, for the School of Business. I'm sorry, we had a very late night last night, so I'm a little bleary-eyed and stumble-bumble this morning, and I apologize. We were at the Making Hope Happen Foundation Gala, and Tobin was on basketball duty. So anyway, the
basketball duty. There's a story there somewhere.
We have these wonderful two young ladies staying with us, from Mali, Africa, and they play basketball. And I'm their taxi dad. I get to drive them to practice and games. And
so these girls are elite basketball players. They played for the Mali national team and traveled all around Africa and Europe playing ball. And so they're here for school and for basketball for it to result in hopefully a scholarship for them to attend a university and play there. And so when we don't want them to miss, because this is the scouting season, we don't want them to miss any practice or any games. So it was important that he get them to their practice.
Yes,
absolutely. And then, so let me ask you then, anecdotally, the dinner thing you went to last night, was it more crowded than usual than in the past?
It is always a sold-out affair. The San Manuel Band of Mission Indians allows the Making Hope Happen Foundation to use their Highland Springs Resort for the event, which is the one that's up on the hill and here in San Bernardino. And it's just a beautiful venue, and they're very supportive, and the food was delicious. And it was all about the arts this time, and so there were students painting and sculpting and singing and dancing, and it was just awesome.
Wow!
Yeah,
wow.
It was.
That's great to hear.
Just awesome. So, and it was a full house.
Yep, there you go. And that's the other sign of a solid economy. People are spending money. I don't know about you, but boy, there are a ton of new cars out on the road. a ton.
Yeah.
With that new little license plate thing that came into effect this year, right? So it's just you, and then driving on the freeway. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, right. Yes.
Oh wow!
Yes.
It's just it's horrendous. But keep things local. That's why I live in the IE. Well, I live in Claremont, and Claremont can be LA or IE depending on how you look at it. But it is LA County. But I've worked out here full time since 2005, and I love it.
I love it too. So that will be our last word for today. As always, Adam, thank you so much for joining us. It's always fun. How do people find you and follow you?
LinkedIn is the best way by far. So just go to LinkedIn, type in Adam Russell, and you'll see me pop up. And just send me an email. I will respond. That I promise you.
Well, thank you so much, as always. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
You guys, too. Take care.
Take care. All right, so with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292FQ Riverside, and K293CF Moreno Valley.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. For this morning, a clear sky, sunshine today with a high of 82. It'll be mainly clear tonight, low 52. Sunshine Saturday, high 80. Sunday, mostly sunny, high 72. Monday, mostly cloudy with a shower in spots, a high 68. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA. 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy, 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
It's time to take a look at our roadways. I'm Erin Brinker. In San Bernardino on the 210 eastbound before North State Street, an accident has been cleared. Slow traffic is backed up from North Riverside Avenue. In Rancho Cucamonga on the 210 westbound after the 15, a large push broom. Yeah, that's a push broom. Is being batted around in the left lanes. Yikes. In Corona on the 91 westbound between Green River Road and Coal Canyon Road, there's slow traffic. And in the Cajon Pass on the 15 southbound after the 138, a big rig's brakes are on fire in the right shoulder. Traffic is slow from before the 138, and that big rig fire is near the Cajon Scales. This has been, one more on the 215 southbound at the 10 in San Bernardino. There's a ladder in the right lanes. This has been your traffic report. Drive carefully, everyone. I'm Erin Brinker, and this is KCAA.
From KCAA Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. For this morning, we'll have a clear sky to be sunny today with temperatures near 80. Mainly clear tonight, the low 52. For Friday, sunny, high 82. Saturday, sunny, high 80. Sunshine for Sunday with a high of 74. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center, the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA. 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy. 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. President Trump is renewing his threat to block former White House counsel Don McGahn, a key source for the Mueller report, from testifying to Congress.
I don't think I can let him and then tell everybody else you can't, especially him, because he was a counsel.
Trump speaking on Fox News. McGahn told investigators he did not act on Trump's request to fire special counsel Robert Mueller. The man who plotted to bomb the New York City subway system is set to go free after 10 years in custody. The attorney for Najib al-Azazi says New Yorkers have nothing to fear when his client is released. Authorities say Azazi's cooperated in investigations into terrorist groups for almost a decade. And record flooding continues in Davenport, Iowa, as the Mississippi River is rising to its highest level since 1993. Officials in Davenport say they've started pushing sewage into the rivers after the wastewater treatment plant reached capacity. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So, Tobin, you pick the next one.
So there's some really funny stories out there, like this guy who took his computer to the Geek Squad.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
He had a little something on his computer that he shouldn't have had.
So first off, he spilled gravy, Aaron, on his computer.
So back up from the mic just a little bit.
He spilled gravy on his computer.
Gravy.
You know, like the stuff you put on your mashed potatoes.
Gravy.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's a very common thing, I guess, when you're eating and doing computer at the same time, to get your gravy on your computer.
No, it's not a common. No, that's not something that people do. Crumbs from, like, I don't know, a cookie, maybe,
Yes.
but gravy, probably not.
So he took it to a Best Buy in Des Moines, Iowa, after he spilled gravy on his computer, and purchased a new computer and requested that the Geek Squad then copy all of his old files onto his new device. And they did, and discovered that some of his files were maybe not so good. So the Change Tech Service normally, they cover everything from a grandparent setting up an iCloud account to a person hoping to install a home theater. They do it all, right? But now this guy's facing 9 charges because of he was charged with purchasing and possessing the depiction of a minor in a sex act.
So child pornography.
Yes.
And his excuse, I thought this was great. His excuse is, well, that wasn't mine, essentially.
Well,
it's like finding drugs in your car.
Yes.
And, oh, that wasn't mine. Really? It's in your car.
Yes. Well, this is the common defense you hear from everybody, and they'll say, "Oh, that computer is used by multiple people, and it's not mine. It's got to be somebody else." And then you get this thing of pointing fingers at everybody, and how do you know who actually did it? But apparently, they feel they've got enough evidence to prove that it was him, and so he's probably going to jail for a while.
And that would mean he would have to register as a sex offender,
Yep.
right? If you possess child porn.
Yep. And so he's currently in jail on a $50,000 bond, and his first court appearance is May 10th. So, he spilled gravy on his computer, and he didn't think that this was going to be a thing. Oh, we'll just transfer the files to the new computer. Nobody's going to know what I'm up to.
Well, clearly he's gotten away with it. I mean, he's had who knows how long he's had it on there. But the people get lazy, and they get complacent. That's the word I was looking for. When they do something wrong and they get away with it for a long period of time.
So I love that criminals are so stupid, and that that's how we catch them a lot of times, is that their own sort of stupidity just sort of, they kind of like walk themselves into the jail. Hi, I'm here. I'm stupid.
Like the guy who calls the police when somebody steals his pot, or
Yes.
not pot, like opioids, because now pot's legal.
Yes. So, speaking of another kind of funny, silly, stupid story, apparently Facebook has a new feature that's coming out. It's called Secret Crush.
Oh, Lord, have
you heard about
mercy.
this?
Is this going to enable stalking?
This is going to create all kinds of problems. I can already see it. The feature allows you to put 9 people on your secret crush list. Ooh.
Well, they're trying to pull some of that Instagram market over to Facebook.
Yes.
And the kids, like we talked about, the kids don't want to be on Facebook
Yes.
because grandma's on Facebook.
Well, this is part of their Facebook dating feature that you have to opt into. But the feature allows you to put 9 people on your secret crush list, and then if someone puts you on their list and it's a match, then your names will be revealed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. Now, if it's one-sided, the names will stay secret. But many point out, of course, how this could really, really go wrong. For example, someone adds a person to their list as a joke, or even uses it to bully someone. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I can kind of see the thought process behind. We've got 900 million or 1 billion people on Facebook, and some of them are dating and might want to meet each other. And dating has really become an online thing.
Yeah.
And so, why not leverage that for a service? Is it a pay service or is it free?
It doesn't say. It's actually rolling out in other nations right now, but it could be available here in the United States by the end of the year. I suspect what you're going to see is spouses, right? Because we've seen this like when that Ashley Madison site got busted, that it was a bunch of like married people that were cheating on each other.
Well, that's the whole point of Ashley Madison.
Yes.
Like they said, divorce is expensive, have an affair or something like that.
Oh, that's right. Well, anyway.
That was their whole raison d'etre.
But you just watched that, spouses are like, who's your secret crush and are you matching with them? I mean, this is the...
You better not have a secret crush.
No, I know secret crush, but I'm just saying this is where we're going to see people getting into trouble, right?
Yeah. Well, I think more. I'm more afraid of the bullying because kids are going to do it. It says you have to be 18, but I could see where bullying would become a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see where bullying would be a problem.
So I don't know. When I saw this, I just thought to myself, okay, this is like so junior high. And I teach middle school, so I'm like, yeah, this is something that the kids, would think was fun, but the adults are going to be like, no. I'm sorry. If I like somebody, I'm an adult. You know what I'm going to do, Aaron?
You're going to tell them.
I'm going to tell them. I'm going to look them in the eye and say, hey, I like you.
Let's grab some coffee, or let's, whatever.
Yeah, that's sort of an adult thing to do. I don't have a secret crush and then wait to find out if I'm your secret crush, and then we can talk. Although
millennials, because they've been so on their phones since forever.
Yeah.
Because before it was the smartphone, they were texting on the dumb phones, and I don't know that they relate to one another the same way our generation did.
They don't. They really don't. In fact, I shared with you the other day that I had a situation in my class where there was a boy and some girls having a completely inappropriate conversation, and they had like zero awareness of how inappropriate this conversation was, talking about each other's body parts and the way that they were in the middle of a classroom loudly when they were supposed to be working on something else.
And you're like, dude,
and I'm like,
stop.
I get sometimes when kids are off privately together and they're going to have conversations, but not in that setting in a classroom, and it just was completely inappropriate. And as a father, I was mortified by some of the things the girls were saying about their own bodies and their own body parts. And I'm like, no. Why are you having this conversation with the boy? But I think it's because of all the stuff they're exposed to online that it's been sort of normalized, right?
Yeah.
They're expected to talk about their bodies and be open about their bodies like that. And I'm like, no. This is, you're a young middle school boy is not going to understand that, and he's going to think that you're essentially inviting him to
do whatever he wants.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. These young middle school boys, how much porn is being watched by those middle school boys, and how is that skewing their idea of how girls should behave and how relationships are how people relate to one another. And you hear about these incels, like the monster who shot up UC Santa Barbara's Isla Vista. He was an incel. That's an involuntary celibate, and their expectation about who's having all the sex or whatever is what they see on television. It's what they it's the porn that they watch. It's all of that, and so they have an expectation of what they should be getting, and it makes them angry when they're not getting it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not reality, sweetie. It's really not.
It really is twisted. And so I think that this Facebook app with the matching of the crushes is a part of the problem. I really wish we had stuff that just encouraged more healthy interaction between mature people as opposed to the little games that are being played and this sort of backdoor way of people connecting. If I like someone, I'm just going to tell them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I'm going to look you in the eye, Aaron, and I'm going to say, hey, you and me later. I like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that. That's it. It's easy.
Yes, but we've been married for 25 years.
Yeah. It's true. That does make it a little bit easier. But just for the other married folks out there, you still have to work at it, people.
You do. So with that, let's take a break. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We will be right back.
With 60 years of fascinating facts, this is The Man from Yesterday. From April of 1968, the Troggs are touring in the U.S. this month based on the strength of their new single, Love Is All Around. It's the English band's first ever U.S. tour. The song is quickly being added to top radio station playlists.
So if you really love me, come on and let it
From April of 1984, Michael Jackson is awake and doing fine after undergoing surgery to reconstruct a patch of scalp burned in January during filming of a Pepsi-Cola TV commercial.
You're a whole generation. You're a whole generation. You're a whole generation.
From April of 1975, just a few months ago, Kung Fu Fighting was a huge hit. ABC TV's Kung Fu, starring David Carradine, is a top TV show. And since his July 1973 death, everyone is still talking about Bruce Lee. This month at movie theaters, The Dragon Dies Hard. It's everything you want to know about Bruce Lee.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
This is The Man from Yesterday, also on Facebook.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising. DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising, 909-222-9293.
A modern 21st century gold rush is happening in America, and you can be a part of it. Today, new mining technology and equipment is allowing miners and weekend prospectors to extract commercial amounts of gold from old mine tailings and surface waste that old-time prospectors missed over 100 years ago. With gold prices soaring past $40,000 a kilo, many old gold mines are reopening. Some of these mines are producing more than an ounce of gold per ton of ore, and the supply of old mine tailings and surface waste ore is virtually unlimited. New mining technology combined with relaxed investment laws are allowing more people to own a stake in gold mines and to become stockholders in promising new mining companies. MW Mining and Inspections Incorporated is one of these new companies. In 2018, the company reopened the first of several U.S. mines with gold production exceeding 1/2 troy ounce per ton, plus high recoverable amounts of silver, platinum, rare earth, and other precious metals. MW Mining is unique because it plans to pay stockholders dividends from its gross sales, not from net income, and therefore MW Mining will absorb all operating expenses internally. For more information on the MW Mining stock opportunity, go to mwminingandinspections.com or call or text 208-451-4558. The common stock of MW Mining is offered through a private placement memorandum pursuant to an exemption from registration under Rule 504 of Regulation D promulgated under the Securities Act of 1933. Gold mining is a high-risk business. All investing in securities involves risk. Purchasing this stock may result in the total loss of your investment.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So our daughter likes to crack her neck.
Yeah, she does. Now I'm scared.
Like twists her head, and she likes that popping. Well, that's probably not a good idea to do that. Let your chiropractor do that. Don't you do that. And I say this because this young man, Josh Hader, had a sore neck, so he tried to stretch it out, accidentally popping it. The next thing he knew, the left side of his body started to go numb.
Yes.
Numb. He went to the kitchen for an ice pack but couldn't walk straight. He said he kept walking, at almost a 45-degree angle to the left. Hayter, who's 28 years old and from Guthrie, Oklahoma, had a serious stroke by cracking his neck. Dr. Vance McCollum, who treated him at Mercy Hospital, said the stroke was life-changing, but could have been worse. When he popped his neck, he tore arteries that go to the bone of the neck, where the neck joins the skull at the base of the brain. The way he twisted the neck caused a bisection, so he tore his artery.
I've never heard of that before.
No.
I mean, that's bizarre. I didn't realize there were arteries like in the back of your neck.
Well, of course,
there.
you got to have blood to your brain.
Yeah, but I know. It's just, wow.
Wow. So, when he popped his neck, he tore those arteries that go to the bone of the neck, where the neck joins the skull, which is crazy. Hayter's father-in-law took him to the ER, where healthcare workers administered him TPA, which breaks up clots. After that, he was transported to the larger Mercy Hospital and was in the intensive care for 4 days before being sent to inpatient therapy. When he arrived, Hayter had numbness, weakness, double vision, and his left side was numb. An arteriogram showed that the artery was compromised because of the tear, which caused a stroke. Yeah, he just kept falling down. He couldn't walk straight because, half the body was going numb. This happened on March 14th, and now, after rehab, Hayter is able to live independently. This is what he said. Currently, I can walk without a walker or a cane, but I get tired much faster than before. My balance is still a little off, but it's not terrible. My left side tingles a little and feels heavier than it used to. Also, I don't have as much control over that side as I used to. My right side doesn't feel sharp pain or hot and cold, which is also dangerous.
Yep.
So how would you know if you've got a cut or a sore or something? He said, I'm good emotionally. Like I said before, it's still a struggle walking long distances, but it's getting much better. He had to wear an eye patch for several weeks because the nerve was injured, causing weakness to one of the muscles going to his eye. And it reminds me of what happened to your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom had a massive stroke about 26 years ago. And, she had all kinds of issues after the surgery that repaired it. But she was basically paralyzed for about 3 months, but it caused permanent damage to her hearing, to her vision,
and
to
her
her balance. But it's all gotten better with time, but it's never returned 100%.
So please don't pop your neck. Don't pop your neck.
Yeah, go to the chiropractor. You got a problem with it?
There are chiropractors in every neighborhood.
Yeah,
seriously.
get a professional to do it.
Yes, get a professional to do it. And they do, but what they're, if you notice, if you've ever been to a chiropractor, they'll feel for, the alignment in the brain, or not the brain, but in the spine, and then they'll do it. So they're looking for something, they understand the anatomy, and then they safely do the popping.
Yeah. Well, and the main thing here in the article they say is don't twist your neck. That the popping of the, when the professionals do it, it's a side to side sort of adjustment without the twist, and the twist is what probably tore the artery, right?
Very scary.
Yeah. So we have to talk to our daughter, who keeps popping her neck.
I know. I'm actually wanting to text this to her right now.
Yeah.
While she's in Spain, she'll get this. Don't pop your neck anymore.
Yes. So we have to talk about this cruise ship story, mostly because the ship is in one of our favorite places, Erin.
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, which is where we went for our 20th anniversary. And just loved St. Lucia. It's a beautiful island in the Caribbean. But apparently there is a cruise ship that is pulled in, and the people in St. Lucia are telling the people on the ship, you can't get off your ship. And it's because someone on the ship has measles.
Uh-oh.
Measles. And we've been hearing more and more stories about the measles, and they don't want anyone on the island to be exposed to it. So they are essentially quarantining these people on their cruise ship, Could you imagine you're on a cruise ship, you paid all this money to go to this place, this beautiful location, and you can't get off the ship, and if you're on the ship now, you feel kind of trapped because you're trapped with Typhoid Mary, Measles Mary.
Yes.
And what are your chances of getting sick now? This is the nightmare scenario, right? Traveling in some enclosed space with someone who's got some highly infectious disease. I hope you got your shots, folks.
Why is this a thing? I'm serious. People, get vaccinated. Why is this a thing? I mean, it's one of those things that, the baby boom generation, when they were kids, had to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
Polio and measles and mumps and all of these things that we now have vaccines for, so that people don't have to get them. People have died from the measles, folks. This isn't just an annoying rash for a week. It causes very high fevers.
Yes.
And so, for people who are immunocompromised, or they're too young to get the vaccine or whatever, they get really, really sick.
Yes. As you read the statistics on this disease, on measles, it's really shocking. 90% of people who are near someone who's infected will get it if the people are not immune, right? If they haven't had the shots. And it spreads really easily, right? I mean, it spreads through the air. All they have to do is cough or sneeze. It's very contagious.
And it hangs around in the air for like 3 hours after you leave.
Yeah.
So you could be I think we've talked about this before. You could be in an elevator and just exhaling the virus, and you're the most contagious before you're symptomatic. So you're exhaling the virus. It's hanging around in the air for 3 hours after you leave.
Yes.
So everybody who gets into that elevator after you for 3 hours is exposed.
Yes. And the incubation period is from 10 to 12 days, right, before symptoms appear. So you could be walking around for a couple weeks, essentially infecting people and not know it. That's what's so scary about it. So all those folks that are on that ship, are potentially carrying it around, which is why they won't let them get off in St. Lucia.
So, if you've spent all this money to take a cruise into the, in the Caribbean, and, and this is West Indies, this is way far south. St. Lucia is pretty far south. And so you've spent all this money and you're stuck on the ship, I'd be spitting fire because somebody didn't get themselves vaccinated.
Right.
Can you bill them? Can you send them a bill for the cost of your vacation?
Yeah.
Because they caused you to have to sit in the ship?
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that, even though they probably have figured out who it is and have them isolated now on the ship, that a lot of folks are not wanting to go out to the common areas because what if somebody else got infected and is out there now,
And how many people book the shoebox rooms on cruise ships saying, well, I'm never going to be in the room anyway.
Exactly.
And then they're stuck in a shoebox. No. I actually have no desire to go on a cruise except to Alaska.
Yeah.
I would much rather be in a resort where we can move around and do what we want.
Yes.
Instead of a giant, densely populated hotel on the sea. I'm just saying.
Let's go to Alaska.
I want to go to Alaska. Lots of places I want to go. I want to go to Ireland. I'm just saying. But our next trip will be, I think, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Do we know people there?
We do.
We have listeners in North Carolina.
We do.
It's called my dad.
So with that, we are at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Have a great weekend, everyone.